finish, you might wish the hell I'd never been up here.
One, and in comes the two to the three, and
Listen to the words that the warriors speaking.
Hey everybody, welcome to the DraftDaily Fantasy Show with Chris and Jay. Tonight we are going to be giving you some daily fantasy sports advice and telling you some of our secrets and plays and everything like that. You want to take it from here, Chris?
Yeah, week one's finally here. I am so glad that we're finally in the football season. Granted that Thursday night game was really bad. It was really ugly. It was hard to watch. It was Thursday night football like in November is what it felt like. So yeah, hopefully it'll get better tomorrow. And we can actually enjoy some reasonably good football. It is always, by general rule, scoring is always down a little bit these first few weeks. The defenses tend to be ahead of the offenses when it comes to getting a rhythm, and you do see that trend come up year after year. So be mindful of that as you're making your lineups.
Yeah, we talked about that on the first episode, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. And don't
take the unders, all the first half unders. You
got it, and that is actually a good play. I think it's like 60% the last few years is the unders have hit on opening week, so opening weekend. So we're gonna get into some plays. I know you had a quarterback you really wanted to talk about, so I'll turn it over to you. We'll start with the QBs.
All right. Well, let's just go through something real fast. Chris and I, we play on DraftDaily.com. We play on FanDuel. We play on DraftKings. We play on a lot of sites. So that's first and foremost. We want to tell you that when we give you this stuff, it's not site specific. And every site is different. DraftDaily.com has my favorite stack available, whereas DK and FanDuel do not. And that is I'm telling everybody right now, the best stack is Green Bay. Period. Rodgers, Adams, Jimmy. That's the best stack, dude. Even Ty Montgomery. Go look at Ty Montgomery's history against the Bears, bro. It's disgusting. It's totally disgusting. And they have running back problems there. So I just want to lead off by saying, look, come to DraftDaily.com, play your fantasy sports. You'll see how awesome it is. And we actually have Green Bay, Chicago Sunday night game.
Yep,
so
we have the Sunday night game is still included on the main slate with the main GPPs. Unlike the other sites who have taken that away, presumably to cycle your money through so they can take more of your money and rake on for the Sunday night or Sunday night, Monday night slate or whatever weird game they dream up next to try to extort more money from you. So I enjoyed one of the big things that I used to love on DraftKings that I'm really disappointed I can't do anymore is doing the late swaps between the 4 p.m. games and the Sunday night game. You're in a big GPP and you got to line up in like 500th place and you've got one spot left, with a guy playing Sunday night, and you got a chalky guy in there that okay, there's no way I'm moving up with this guy, because 100 people above you, you assume I'll have the same guy. You can do well. Actually, Al Zeidenfeld, the week he won the Millie Maker, he pivoted onto Stephon Diggs for the Sunday night game, and it was when Diggs was still, I think he was a rookie, and no one really knew too much about him, and he went off and scored 3 touchdowns and won the dude $1 million. Had it been this year, he wouldn't have had that chance because there's no ability to do that Sunday night pivot anymore, which is kind of sad. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoy that you guys that we have the Sunday night games on the main slate. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, and we have the kicker. All right. Well, before we start this, Chris, I want to tell you right now, I'm completely off of Pittsburgh. I am scared of the weather.
Yeah, dude, they're making it sound out here like we all should be building our arcs right now. And honestly, up in Cleveland, I'm from Cleveland. I'm born and raised here. We don't get crazy weather other than a lot of snow. And it's unusual for them to use words like torrential downpour and monsoon and all of the city will be flooded, and add to that the wind. If you've ever been to Brown Stadium, it's literally right on the lake. Like the one side of the stadium, if you jumped off the back of it, you'd be in Lake Erie. And the wind already on a normal day comes off that lake and just whips around that stadium. And with them calling for these 20 to 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, along with all this crazy rain tomorrow, it's going to get wild here. I'm of the same opinion. I think I'm going to go full fade on this game, except I'm probably going to sneak some James Connors in, but I'm going to probably be under the field on Connor. I just can't pass that up. The value is so good and the price is so cheap, and he's, running backs aren't affected as much by the wind and the rain.
That's why I love Carlos Hyde. He's like the only player I like. Period.
He's actually, now that you say that, he could be another good pivot play this week because a lot of people are moving off this game. Held the Vegas line, where did I see it was last that it had gone from, it's opened at 47, they're at 41 right now. It's very unusual for a game to come down 6 points. So everyone's thinking that way. So, honestly, I'm wondering if Antonio Brown's ownership's going to go way down.
Well, I hope it stays way up.
Me too, because I'm not playing it, but I do keep thinking about the last time they played in Cleveland. We had a similar situation with the weather. The wind was real bad, and what they ended up doing was they used Antonio Brown on all these little crossing routes and these little screen passes and these little 3-yard deacon dunks, and I think he ended up smoking us for like 2 touchdowns and like 100 and something yards. I have to look. I think it was just last year, because I remember thinking the same thing. Oh, people don't know how bad this weather is here, and then it ends up not affecting the Steelers at all.
Man.
So I'm on the same page though. I just like I said, with what they've been saying, what I've been seeing, all the forecasters and everyone's saying around here, it's going to be really nasty here tomorrow. So I'm off this game. I'm off it almost completely as well.
Yeah, so I got Carlos Hyde is like the only player that I'm going to start from the game, period. Other than that, doing this daily fantasy, even for your season long, look, it's not like you just go to a site, DraftDaily.com or wherever you may go. You don't just go there and start picking players. People like Chris and me, we do our homework. We look for high winds. We look at weather conditions, because I can tell you right now, I love running backs in the snow. I don't care who it is, because they fall forward and gain 3 yards.
Slide forward.
Yeah. So, you guys to take, I want you to know, you can't just come on a daily fantasy sports site and think that, don't either do your homework or watch guys like us, because I've got to tell you, I know Chris probably spent 4 times as much time as I did, but I at least spent 27 hours doing my homework for these contests and for these games and slates. So, do your homework. I mean, I look at the bags under my eyes. I literally was up till 7:30 a.m. yesterday looking at everything. And, I go as far as going back to the history between the teams. And I look at the players. Like, I know Michael Thomas is going to blow up. I know Kareem Hunt's going to blow up. So my only problem I got to play with there is the ownership of Michael Thomas, which is now probably going to be retarded. So, but either way, I just want everybody to let you know, while you're watching us, we do our homework. We do it all for you. So all you got to do is just listen to us and then make some of your own decisions, use what we say as like a tool, because we put time in it, we put effort, and we know what the hell we're doing. So let's start off with quarterbacks. We're not going to go game by game. It takes too long, and I don't like doing that. I have a list here of all the players I like, and all these, I can fit any one of these players into my lineups of this list. So I could just swip and swap. The only player not on this list that I just told you about is my super sneaky play. And my super sneaky play we'll go over later. I guess we'll go over super sneaky plays for you and me, and then we'll go with the best player that we're both using. And what we need to think about when we do that, Chris, is the best player that we're using that we both know is going to have like some crazy retarded ownership percentage. Like anything over 12% is what I'm thinking for our best player. And for our sneaky play, obviously his ownership should be real low. You know, even Royce Freeman, what do you got Royce Freeman at? 8 to 10%?
Yeah, probably around there, maybe even less than that, to be honest.
But let's go over quarterbacks. You go first and tell me what you have for quarterbacks.
I'll give you a couple of the ones that I really like. Now, my plays are almost always going to be GPP plays, guaranteed prize pool. They're not meant for like a head-to-head cash kind of game where you're only playing against one other lineup. So sometimes my plays are going to seem a bit contrarian, and sometimes probably even a little bit crazy. But if you look through the history of trying to win one of these very top-heavy contests, you have to really think outside the box. You've got to kind of take into consideration what you think the rest of the community and the rest of the industry is going to do, and you got to kind of think almost the opposite of that. You know, not necessarily completely opposite. Like, I'm not going to go crazy stacking, you know, the who would be a good example here? The Bills. I'm not going to play 100 lineups with you know, the Bills offense, hoping that just by some miraculous thing they score 50 points, you know, because the chances of that happening are like very, very, very low.
Yeah. And McCoy's not going to run against the Ravens.
Yeah, that too. But he might catch a lot of passes against them because they are going to be down and playing from behind. And who does that guy really have to throw to? So,
I got Baltimore's defense is like one of the top plays this week.
They will be. They will be. They will be. They're also going to be very high owned. But so a couple of the quarterbacks that I really like, and one that I've been on all week this week. I got on them early. Is Drew Brees. And Drew Brees was looking to come in, like he was going to come in a little bit sneakier low owned than he probably should have. And that was until today when they announced Brent Grimes, the cornerback for the Bucs, is out. And I think that's going to kind of even help more. The Bucs defense is terrible to begin with. Their secondary is especially terrible.
And New Orleans is not away.
And Drew Brees at home, you know, his home road splits are like, you know, it's insane.
He's actually a different quarterback.
It really is. He really is. It's you know, and I take that for what it's worth. People love to put a lot of credit on home road splits. I don't know if it's really that predictive, but a couple of these guys like him and Ben, it just seems to. There's just certain guys that just thrive at home. It's just crazy how different their stats are.
Like the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
I think that trend's going to change.
Hard to play out. Yes, Candlestick is it's a different world playing there from what I've heard. So
you got on the quarterbacks, man.
So Drew Brees I like. The other one that I really like is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is going to be another one. He's going to probably take a little bit more ownership than he probably should have. But Kansas City's secondary is probably the only one that I think is worse than Tampa Bay's. They're just awful. I think one of the guys they just signed him within the last week or two, and he was cut by two other teams before that. I forget his name. He was cut by Dallas and two other teams that don't even have that good a secondary as he was cut by. So, you know, Rivers, with that pass-heavy offense and the size of those receivers against these three smaller slot-type cornerbacks, I don't see them being able to match up, which, you know, could also lead well to like a game stack where maybe you play Patrick Mahomes and a couple of the Chargers receivers instead of playing Rivers to get, you know, exposure on both sides. If you think they're going to be down by 20 points after the first quarter, well, Mahomes is either going to have to run or throw for some touchdowns to keep it in the game. So that might be one of those things where you might want to look at playing both sides of that game.
And I'm also hearing that Gates is not playing. So Virgil Green is a super sneaky play. So a nice stack there. I mean, that's not, you know, I'm not opposed to a four-way stack. Virgil Green, Melvin Gordon, Allen, and Phillip Rivers. And let me tell you something, with Gordon's price and Rivers' price, and then sneaking Virgil Green in there, bro, you're going to be able to put a lot of nice players on your team.
You can fit a lot of salary in then and play Kamara and some of the other chalkier guys. Yeah. Yeah, because what a lot of what we've seen when trying to build these basically contrarian lineups you're gonna want towards the top of a big GPP tournament. You're okay to play a couple guys at 20% ownership. Most of the lineups that win these big tournaments have guys at over 20% ownership.
Yep.
Just not a lot of them. Not your whole lineup.
Both them teams scare me. I think that's going to be the highest scoring. I think that's going to be the highest scoring game of the day.
I could see that. I could see that. It's the third highest total on the slate. And a lot of times this is also a nice contrarian tip. A lot of times, pretty sharp players will focus on the games with the highest totals. So like right now you have New Orleans versus Tampa Bay and the Patriots versus the Texans as the highest total Vegas implied point totals. What I like to do sometimes is I like to go underneath those to the next few games down. And in this case, that would be Kansas City and the Chargers. And then the other quarterback that I know that I'll let you lead into this now. The next other game is the Bengals at the Colts that has another high implied point total on this Sunday only slate.
Yeah, that was early in the week, and even now, I love that stack. Eifert, Green, Dalton, and I'm so on Mixon, but I love that stack, man. And you talk about a nice stack that allows you to spend up. You throw John Ross into that. He's cheaper than anybody. I mean, he's real cheap, and I don't even think his usage is going to be that high. So, but let's stick with these quarterbacks because I'll keep going off task if we keep going to these teams.
So one thing I will say about the Bengals, Andy Dalton, I have heard more industry experts say to start Andy Dalton in your cash games and in your GPP games than I think I've ever heard any quarterback like ever this week. And it's like, oh, Andy Dalton is as the highest quarterback on the slate. What could go wrong? It's Andy freaking Dalton. Come on, guys.
I'm pissed off. I said it to you last week. Meanwhile, I got 27 lineups built with him. Pisses me off. You told me that today. I'm like, well, I've known that for a freaking week. These guys figured it out today. I mean, it makes me mad. I wish they didn't figure it out.
Well, and here's the thing. Quarterback ownership, you really shouldn't worry about too much, especially early on in the season. Quarterback, it's going to be really spread out. So even if you do get the quarterback at 10 to 15% owned, that's like nothing compared to later on in the year.
Yeah, but that's going to trend into AJ Green. It's also going to trend into Eifert, and it's probably going to move Mixon up at least 2%.
Mm.
AJ Green's probably going to be, I don't know. I figured him to be like anywhere from 7 to 12%. Now I think it's 10% to 18%.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I think 15 to 20 in that range is probably going to be about right for him, which is fairly high. He's going to be right up there with Michael Thomas.
Barely nobody would use Dalton now. Everybody's on Dalton.
Well, and that's the thing. This is the thing about GPPs that's important to remember is if everyone's playing Andy Dalton and you're sitting there thinking, well, it's Andy Dalton. That there's a lot of risk involved with playing Andy Dalton. He hasn't been very good the last few years.
No, he gave the playoff game away. Literally gave it away.
That's where I go, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to play any of Andy Dalton then. I'll let the field try to play him, and I'll let them get screwed by him, and I'll play somebody else who I'll probably get screwed by too. But it's that kind of mindset that you have to take to take down one of these big GPPs. Kind of think what else is everybody going to do? What don't I agree with about that, and how can I exploit it? So, and that's the kind of the opinion I take when I'm building these lineups. Like I'm not going to play any of Andy Dalton in the big GPPs this week.
Yeah, and I'm going to do 3 lineups, and then I'm going to switch some things out. But what else you got? Any other quarterbacks?
I got one sneaky quarterback that I think this game is going. I'm surprised that it's the total. Vegas total is so low.
You don't like the luck.
I do, but I don't know. I'm just
seeing clearly, aren't you?
I know you can't do this in GPPs, which is why I hate saying it, but I'm taking the wait and see approach of luck. I'm not going to let him burn me week 1 because I don't know. It's Andrew Luck. He hasn't played in almost 2 years. Again, what could go wrong? Like it's Andrew Luck. So one of the games I'm going to target that I think that a lot of people are overlooking, and you actually mentioned this game to me off the air a minute ago, is the Seattle and Denver game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Denver with Case Keenum. I think with the weapons Case Keenum has, still don't know if Case Keenum's actually a good quarterback or not, but I don't know that it actually matters with those 2 guys he's got on the outside. And then I'm also going to target Russell Wilson because I think no one's going to target either of these guys, and I think that this game could end up shooting out. And I think it could surprise everyone. I think this is one of those games that could hit the over.
And I think Seattle doesn't get past 17 points.
I think that if Seattle's going to score a lot of points, they're all going to come through Russell Wilson. So this is one of those games where I would take like Russell Wilson and I'd play him with, Tyler Lockett, and then I'd put Emmanuel Sanders in as well to try to get a little bit of both sides of that game.
The tight end's dirt cheap.
Yeah, and there you go. You can fit in
Bissett. Nick Bissett.
Yeah. You can cheap tight end.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's okay. I believe Denver's defense is good, man. I think Denver's going to smoke them. I think Seattle's defense is terrible now, and Denver's defense is good.
Yeah, and I think that's actually another piece of this is the pricing on these slates. They've priced it in like Seattle is still good on defense. So you're getting a pretty big price discount on all these Denver guys. Keenum, Sanders, they're all fairly cheap compared to where I think they should be priced.
Yeah, except for Thomas.
Thomas is the only one, and he's actually going to be a contrarian play because everyone's going to be playing Sanders. So you might want to, now that I think about it, maybe I go Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, and Demaryius Thomas.
But 120 for Sanders or Thomas, and 98 and a touchdown. For either one. So if one gets 98 yards and a touchdown, and one of them gets 126 yards and a touchdown, that's not. I mean, you're still doing good there, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm not scared to use all. I'm not scared of doing Keenum, Sanders, and Thomas, because that's where all the volume's gonna come.
Yeah, you could do like a Keenum, Sanders, Thomas, and then run it back with like a Lockett or a Baldwin, or heck, even better yet, run it back with somebody when we'll get to him, somebody who I'm going to be playing because nobody is Chris Carson, Seattle running back. Literally nobody's talked about it.
No.
He actually looked good in the preseason. And if they're throwing passes to him, because when you got a mobile quarterback, as we've discussed many a times in the past, it really gives your running back a boost because the defense has got to count for 2 pairs of legs running behind the line of scrimmage there, and it really opens up things a lot of times for the running back. So
yeah, I'm just like, there is something that scares the death out of me for this game. If Royce Freeman is doing really good running the ball, that game script is going to be terrible.
It's going to, that'll slow it down a bit. You're right. And and I think that's why Vegas has a low total between them considering Seattle's defense good and then the potential for it to be, a ground game. I think you're right. I think that's what's kind of
because if Denver gets a 10-point lead, they're going to
Yeah, you're right.
Chew that clock up like crazy. So, but I do like that, because then on the other hand, if Russell Wilson can score some points and Denver has to answer, then it looks like you're going to be eating some snacks with Thomas and Sanders. Yeah,
you'll have a nice little shootout on your hands. But again, this is a very contrarian stance on this game. This game's if most of the time, if Vegas says it's going to be a certain way, that's how it is. So they've got experts upon experts. There's a lot of money on the line with those guys getting it right. So, I tend to lean towards, if they're saying it's going to be a lower point total game, I tend to lean that way. But then again, you got to remember, that's what everybody does. So playing guys from a game like this could really get you ahead when everyone else is looking the other direction. So.
Yep. You got anybody else?
No, I think that's good for quarterbacks. I gave enough of them.
All
I'm gonna
right.
give you all my
Well,
secrets.
I like Brady, of course, is the number one quarterback. So, I mean, look, the guy threw, for 5 touchdowns last time they played. I don't know. What him and Gronk, I know everybody's on Hogan, but I don't know. Brady's the best quarterback there is, period. It's Brady and, well, Rodgers you can't play on some of the sites, but it'd be Brady and Rodgers for me, 1-2. Who else do I like? I like Mahomes, man, Kansas City. I like that stack there. I mean, that was Cincinnati and Kansas City were my original 2 stacks. And I don't know, what's happening to me, I'm going to tell you. And I might just tell everybody to go screw themselves right now. Because I keep watching people, and then you keep doubting Mahomes. And I keep hearing interceptions. They're going to eat Mahomes alive. He's prone to throw interceptions. It's setting up for Mahomes to have a bad day. And you know what? I'm an idiot because I'm actually listening to that. But you know what? I'm going the other way now. I'm going back to I like Mahomes. I love Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's a must start in everything you have, period. And Tyreek Hill, Kelsey. I mean, I love it, dude.
Well, the thing about that game is the Chargers aren't going to let up. If Phillip Rivers is chucking it and they're scoring, they're just going to keep scoring. So if Kansas City's going to stay into that game with how bad their defense is, and I don't know that there's even any discussion there. They're just like bad. That their secondary is
both of them are bad.
It's
Dude, you don't even have Eric Berry.
It's the worst in the league. I think it might be the worst in the league, Kansas City secondary right now.
Well, Eric Berry's out. So
they're going to score. Chargers are going to score, and they're going to score, and they're going to score. And in order for Kansas City to even have a chance of staying in this game, they're going to have to try to keep pace with that. So you're right, to where the playing these Kansas City guys is not a bad idea at all, because this game could just go back and forth.
Dude,
it really could.
I am almost hit to say, play both teams.
Mm-hmm.
Melvin Gordon's a must start now too. Melvin
Yeah.
Gordon's claiming he's fine, and the coach is claiming there's no snap count for him. Well, you're telling me Melvin Gordon has no snap count and he's fine. That's all I need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And his price is crazy good. The other quarterback that I had, other than what you talked about, was Kirk Cousins, man.
Dirty Kurt.
Kirk Cousins. I think Stephon Diggs has a big day. Now, I did switch on something. I was in love with Rudolph, but I looked at some numbers, and I think Rudolph's a problem. So I think that Cousins is fine, and I'm scared of. Look, if Dalvin Cook has a great game, that's fine and everything, and I won't be one of the guys who has Dalvin Cook. But I think Diggs and Cousins, them two, is all you need in that game. And maybe Minnesota's defense, man.
Yeah, that's another game that I don't think a lot of people are too on right now. And even Jimmy G is a potential play. I mean, he was like his stats the last 4 games of the season was like he's like the best quarterback in the league the last 4 games.
I looked at them. I looked at it. If you think if you think Goodwin's gonna have 119 yards or 148 yards, or that's not gonna happen, dude. They got Xavier Rhodes there.
No, I know, but it could.
Do you know who that
another
is?
one that scores, that the scoring goes back and forth on. That's more what I was getting.
Who's Xavier Rhodes covering? There's only one person to cover there. He's the only receiver there.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude, there's no way unless Xavier Rhodes is hurt or something and playing. Dude, I'm telling you now, I hope everybody starts. I hope they all start him, because I'm telling you, he's going to have like 3 catches for 48 yards max. Xavier Rhodes will shut him down fast. Dude, I think Minnesota's defense is Baltimore, Minnesota, Arizona. That's my 3 top defenses. I love Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs, dude. Stephon Diggs, when he's not injured, is unbelievable. But as soon as he starts hurting, you got to get the hell away from him real fast. That's how Diggs is, man. That's how he's like Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed's phenomenal when he plays. But as soon as you hear the word injured, or I don't care if it's even a bruise, you gotta get the hell away from them guys, man. And Kirk Cousins, I mean, the only thing that scares me about him is, dude, he had talent. He had talent in Washington. I mean, he had talent, and he didn't do much with it. So it worries. That's something that worries me a little bit. Although they never had a running game. I mean, they've never had a running back. Never, ever. So I'm hoping maybe that eases it up. And I don't think he's ever had an offensive line like Minnesota either.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I might dabble a little bit. I haven't kind of decided. I haven't actually built any lineups for tomorrow's slate yet for this week. I was focused on Thursdays before Thursday.
I did. They all have Andy Dalton in it and AJ Green and Tyler Eifert.
That's not bad though. That's a great, great thought before everyone decided to jump on the Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket bandwagon.
Yes, that's it for me for quarterbacks. I'm with you.
Let's move on. We spent way too much time on quarterbacks. But see, quarterbacks are the most important position when building your DFS lineups for tournaments, because you are building a storyline. When you put a quarterback in, you're assuming that quarterback's going to score points most of the time through the air. That means there's got to be guys at the other end of that catching those touchdowns who are also going to score a lot of points. So that's why, when I start to build these tournament lineups, I always start with my quarterbacks first. And then I build the stacks out from there. Do I want one receiver? Do I want two receivers with this guy? Do I want one receiver and then bring a running back from the other team, or a receiver back from the other team, like that. So that's why we're probably every week we'll probably end up spending more time on quarterbacks than anybody else. Yeah,
and before we go to running backs, look, I hear people talking about Blake Bortles. Man, he's gonna have 198 yards, one interception, and maybe one touchdown. They're gonna run the hell out of the ball, and they're gonna run it successsussly.
He's gonna have a typical Blake Bortles game.
Yeah, he's not gonna have to do anything special. You don't think Blunt's gonna go nuts this game? I've told you, he's my number one player. I'm almost positive it's Kareem Hunt and him, with Melvin Gordon or David Johnson in a flex. That's where all my stuff's lining up. But let's go to running backs. What do you got for running backs?
Running backs. So it definitely seems like the chalk for good reason is going to be Alvin Kamara. I'm still tinkering around. I think I'm going to have quite a bit of him. I don't know if I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going to get at the I think he's going to be on probably around 30-35% in the big tournaments, which is a lot, and which usually means I would fade a guy. But man, it's just setting up to be a perfect scenario for him.
Yes, I hope he gets injured.
He's catching He's going to be catching balls out of the backfield. They just signed the third. It was him and Gillislee until today when they signed.
Well, I hear the other guys talking about Gillislee like he's a good play.
Jonathan Williams. So the Saints have Kamara. Gillislee is their number 2 back, and Jonathan Williams, who they just signed off the practice squad today, is their number 3 back.
Yeah, I know. I'm going up there for an opening soon.
so it's
they're gonna be signing me next too, bro.
I don't know. He's one of those guys. I may end up deciding to fade him and instead play the New Orleans passing offense and just hope that.
Let's call it how it is. I'm scared to death of Alvin Kamara because I'm not using him in anything, and I know that if there's one player that that's going to score 30-some points, and I'm gonna be like, damn, why?
Yeah.
So I'm taking a big risk. That's what I said. Maybe I'll get lucky and he'll bruise his ankle or something. I don't know.
Not too horrible of an injury.
Yeah,
just
not
enough
too horrible, but just enough to it's bruised. I can't walk on it. Because I know his percentage, his ownership percentage is going to be way up there, and that's what I would need, because I'm telling you now, I'm not using him in anything.
And I've been mulling over it. I was looking at it last night, and I'm like, man, should I just fade him in the big GPP tournaments because everyone else is going to play him, and if something happens, or if he does only get the normal 16 carries like he was getting last year, for some reason, their coach tend to be a little stubborn, so they may not give him.
15 points in fantasy, you're in good shape.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, but I think a good pivot off of him is he's only 300 more is David Johnson.
Oh, I love
almost
David
feel
Johnson.
like everybody forgot about David Johnson this week. He's, he hasn't been talked about much from all the articles and everything I read, and he's David freaking Johnson. You got to play him, man. I feel like this is back to 2016, back before everybody knew who David Johnson was, or I don't know. I know Arizona's not going to be that good this year, but even more the reason to play him. They ain't got nobody else to give the ball to.
Yeah, and that's my biggest problem right now is I keep Hunt, Gordon, Johnson are, I'm trying to use all three of them and everything, and then I like Blunt. I mean, not Blunt. I mean Fournette. So I'm having a hard time picking between the three, and that's like my biggest problem. Like Hunt is a must start. Period. Over everybody there, Hunt's a must start. But David Johnson, man, dude, it's against Washington, and that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna feed David Johnson the rock. They're gonna feed him the rock consistently.
They're gonna have to. They don't really have a choice.
No, and he can catch. We all know that. It's just Washington sucks, bro. They're terrible. I mean, I love David Johnson. I mean, I really do. I love them four. Them four is giving me a headache because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start them top tier running backs like that, and then I'm going to use some lower tier wide receivers, and then I'm switching it because
it's a good strategy.
I looked at Barkley. I'm just not sure, man. I think that Eli's going to be in trouble, dude.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think that, and I don't think Barkley's going to have all this room that everybody says he's going to have.
I don't think so either. I'm nervous for that game. Like I said, I'm actually going to play a little bit of Eli because I really want to play the Eli to Odell stack, but I'm playing that basically knowing that those lineups aren't going to hit. And if they do hit, I'm going to be like the only guy that's playing that's stacking up the Giants against Jacksonville. But again, that's how you win a GPP. You have the gonads to stack freaking Eli Manning up against the best defense in the league and just hope that something happens, hope that they find a way to exploit them or that maybe Jacksonville finally comes back down to earth a little bit. I don't think so. I think they are actually as good as they were, as they seemed to be last year. I don't think it was fool's gold, but maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I am.
Well, there's four of them that, that I'm having issues with because the only one I'm 100% on is Kareem Hunt, and then the other three, I mean, Gordon, Johnson and Fournette, they're all, I don't know who, you don't know which one's going to score more.
Yeah, and I think
Fournette doesn't catch the ball, but guess what? He could have one or two more touchdowns than any of them guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Hunt's a good play. I think Hunt will be 10% or lower probably. Mm-hmm. He's not getting a lot of love.
I love him.
So a couple of the sneakier guys I think that we could kind of sneak in the lineups here. One of them I mentioned earlier. I really like that Chris Carson just because he's 40, he's really priced down and no one's going to play him. He's not like a guy you want to play in your cash lineups, but he's pretty sneaky. Another one, and you'll like this one a lot, instead of Andrew Luck, is Jordan Wilkins, I'm sorry, the guy, the running back from Indy. He's going to have like no ownership. He'll probably be 1% or less. And I just, Indy's going to have to keep pace with that Cincinnati team if the scoring works out like Vegas thinks it's going to. And he could be a sneaky low play where he's going to get some catches out of the backfield. He's going to get some runs. He's going to get a little bit mixed in. And I think he could, one of those like sub 1% plays that actually might work out. Yeah, because that's Indy's running backs: Jordan Wilkins, Marlon Mack, and Nyheim Hines. So yeah, who's going to get the ball? Andrew Luck's got to hand it to somebody. So he's a starting running back at 30. It priced way down on all these slates. So or all these sites. So
I'll say the same thing Juice says. Bless him. Bless him.
Bless him.
Bless
There you
him.
go.
That's my
There you
boy
go.
right there. I wish this game wasn't in bad weather because I was in love with Jarvis Landry. Now I'm not.
Yeah, back to that game. So yeah, and I think you're right. I think Carlos Hyde might be sneaky, and James Conner's not going to be sneaky, but they're going to have to run in this game in Cleveland. If it's anything like that they're saying tomorrow, they're going to have to. They're not going to be able to throw the ball more than a couple yards down the field.
I think Pittsburgh's getting beat, dude.
It could happen. They've been there's been a lot of distraction.
You that line's going towards Cleveland, don't you? That line's going toward Cleveland, bro. By tomorrow, it might be.
I know. Le'Veon Bell did not get on the bus today.
Yeah,
I already heard that. The bus was on its way to Cleveland a few hours ago, and he was not on it.
Dude, he's losing $893,000.
Oh my goodness, how? I mean, but I don't know.
Because he's probably going to get
that. I know. Like, how could you live with yourself doing that? But you know what? I understand it. I honestly, in that whole situation, I don't want to get into all of it. But probably better for him.
Well, think about it this way: if you're Le'Veon Bell, he missed 4 weeks last year, didn't he? Wasn't he suspended or some crap?
No, he came week 1, but he was really bad. Like the first 3 or 4 weeks, it took him a while to get in the game shape. The year before, he was sitting. He had to sit out because he got busted with weed, or something like that.
I'm not worried about Bell. If you're an NFL football team and you have the money, look, you signed this guy for 2 years, 3 years.
They won't pay guaranteed money. It's a thing Pittsburgh doesn't do. In the NFL, no contracts are guaranteed, and that's I think where he's like, you're not going to pay me guaranteed money up front, and you're not gonna guarantee my contract, obviously. So you're gonna run me out there for 30 to 40 carries a game in some cases, risking my body and my health. And then the day my knee blows out, you're gonna go, see ya, nice knowing ya. Thanks for your service. Bye. And so I kind of understand where he comes from that point. They're going to use and abuse him, and they should pay him. Pay the man.
I mean, for him to risk to lose $893,000, that's big.
It is. It shows how much he really feels about it, and it really is. And the thing is, Pittsburgh's one of the only teams in the league that doesn't do large signing bonus, large upfront guaranteed money contracts. And I think it's going to hurt them, and it's going to hurt them going forward.
I think they're about to be more hurt than you can imagine.
I don't know. I think that
team's going to be in rebuilding mode. But back to the running backs, man. How about Drake, dude? They're saying he's getting all the touches.
I could see that. I hadn't looked too much into him, to be honest.
I love him. And you know who else I love? My boy, Alex Collins. But you know what I saw? I'm not the only one that loves Alex Collins now.
Yeah.
Alex always happened to me every year, dude. Every year, a week before anything happens, I can be like, oh, I love Alex Collins. Nobody's talking about him. Nobody wants him. And then right before I do my lineups, and then I'm like, oh, great. His percentage just went from from 5% to freaking 15%. Drives me crazy.
Stacking Alex Collins with the Baltimore defense is going to probably be one of the most used stacks in all of DFS this week. And for those of you who don't know, a lot of times a good strategy is to play whatever running back you're playing with that team's defense. It's a change. It's a pace of play type of thing, where if the defense is playing well and the team is up, they're gonna have a much more of a tendency to hand off the ball. And it really a lot of times there is a lot of correlation between number one running back and a defense in any given game that a team's winning if they're projected as as the favorite. So that is going to be super popular this week. It really is. So
yeah. And the only last one I have is we've already talked about Carlos Hyde. Royce Freeman, man. I like Royce Freeman. So I'm having a problem with the four I told you. Fournette, Hunt, Gordon, and David Johnson. And I'm having a problem with these four. Hyde, Drake, Collins, and Freeman. That's my problem. One of these situations, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide receivers. And the other one, I'm using the top running backs and using lesser wide And in another situation, I'm using the lesser running backs and the top 5 receivers. That's how I'm building my lineups. So that's my problems. But I just probably Fournette and Hunt and David Johnson right now. That's where I really love. But yeah, I don't know, dude. This Royce Freeman, I looked at some of his statistics, dude. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he really surprised me in the preseason. He's not going to carry a ton of ownership either.
No.
He could be a sneaky play this week.
Yeah, and they're already saying something like he's their lead back, he's their workhorse. That's what they said. They already said that. Yeah. I mean, when they say things like that, that's the only thing that scares me about the game script, man. Because I've read that and I'm like, that means they're going to run the ball. They're going to get the lead and they're going to put it down. They're going to put it down. They're going to put it down Seattle's throats. What they're going to do.
They did say today that Earl Thomas is active, even though he's been holdout and didn't do any preseason or wasn't around till now. He is going to. It does look like he's going to be playing on.
He's going to wish
Sunday.
he wasn't playing because guess what? Everybody around him is different. Everybody. They've lost too much talent.
Yeah, they did lose a lot of talent. You're right.
When you bring up regression and progression, you can forget about any progression out of Seattle, dude. There's no way that they can. You can't. It took Baltimore like 3 years to replace a damn cornerback. You know what I mean? They've lost a bunch of. They lost almost everybody on that defense except for Earl Thomas. I mean, and I'm not saying that Sherman is like the best cornerback anymore because I already said Xavier Rhodes is.
Yeah.
But
no, Sherman's he's
better
not.
than 25 other cornerbacks.
I don't know, man. Coming out after that, I mean, he tore his Achilles. Achilles injury is hard to come back from, especially when your job is speed. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, you're not wrong. That defense is not good.
No. You got anything else for running backs? Are you ready?
No, let's move on.
All right, what do you got for wide receivers?
Wide receivers. We already mentioned one of them that I really like, Emmanuel Sanders. He's priced really low on all the sites, and it's like you said, I just feel like this Denver Seattle game. I keep coming back to it. I think it could shoot out. I just feel like this could end up being a much higher scoring game than Vegas thinks it's going to be.
You do have to start both of them, though, man, because it would suck, man, if you have Thomas and Sanders, and Thomas has 172 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Sanders has 46 yards and 4 or 5 catches. I mean, Thomas already made up for Sanders right there, and then vice versa. That Sanders has the 2 touchdowns and 146 yards, and Thomas is the one with the 4 receptions of 40-some yards. I mean, as long as you're getting 200 yards combined and 2 to 3 touchdowns, it doesn't matter which one. And that's my biggest. That's like what worries me. You don't know which one of them's gonna. You don't know which one's gonna do it.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's gonna be a short, a pass to the left sideline, where Demaryius Thomas makes everybody look stupid and runs 76 yards, or you don't know if it's gonna be a Sanders coming across the slot or going deep.
Sanders, got all the love in the preseason. He got like 3 times. I have to look at the exact stats, but it was quite a bit.
I saw that.
Target share than. Yeah, it's preseason. You got to take it for what it's worth. Yeah, he had let's see, the third game of the preseason, he had 8 targets. Let me see how many Demaryius had. Probably. Let's see.
Probably 1. Okay,
so he had 4. So, and that was pretty much so he was doubling up his targets the first 3 games. But again, that's another point that where Sanders is going to be quite a bit higher owned, probably 10 to 15% in that range. To whereas Demarius is going to be almost no ownership, 1%, 2%, somewhere probably in that range, maybe up to 5 at most.
Yeah, I mean that's like a sneaky play if you ask me. Because if he it only takes him 143 or 163. I mean, I've seen him, dude, catch the ball 2 yards, 2 yards out, and freaking juke everybody, make them all look stupid. And he's no little guy, dude. Thomas is big, man, and he's a bruiser. But wide receivers, I mean, dude, I love Devontae Adams, and on DD on DraftDaily.com, I'm telling you now, my lineup's Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Ty Montgomery. I'm
building that stack myself.
Yeah, it's Green Bay, dude. It's Green Bay.
Hope you differentiate around it good, because that's what I'm doing. I'm going Rodgers.
I differentiated around it, and I love Jarvis Landry, but now reading these weather reports and everything, and I mean, I just can't see myself doing that. So, and I love Juju Smith-Schuster, dude. Loved him. But this damn weather, man, just messed me up. So now I'm down to Michael Thomas, which obviously, if Drew Brees' ownership just skyrocketed, I'm telling you now, Chris, that's the stack that's going to be the most usage. That's the stack, dude. That's the most used stack is going to be Brees, Kamara, Thomas. I guarantee it. That's going to be the stack, dude.
I could see that. I could also see Phillip Rivers to Keenan Allen being a very popular stack. Again, we kind of talked about that earlier with Kansas City's secondary being just so terrible. And a lot of times what I'll do is when I see there's going to be these stacks that are going to be really high owned, what I'll do is I'll instead look to the secondary receivers. So where instead of like going with Keenan Allen as your guy that you're stacking with Phillip Rivers, I'll go with like a Tyrell Williams. Yeah. Or heck, even get a little wild and go like Tyrell Williams and Mike Williams, and just hope that they just happen to gobble up all the touchdowns. That I know we talk about this. I talk about this one week, but this week always stands out in my mind. It happened last year with Seattle versus Houston. The game ended up being a shootout. Nobody thought it was going to be. Russell Wilson threw 3 touchdown passes, 2 of them to Tyler Lockett, and third to that other guy that's not on their team anymore. I can't remember his name. And Doug Baldwin ended up with like 20 yards. So, of course, I had all these. The reason I remember that is because I had tons of Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin stacks, and I had none of the other 2 guys. And the guy who won the $1 million in the one big tournament, the one site puts on, he played that. He played Russell Wilson, Will Fuller for Houston, to bring it back, and then Tyler Lockett and Paul Richardson. That was his name. Paul Richardson had 100 yards and a touchdown that game, or something ridiculous like that. Won the guy $1 million. So that's where, when people are thinking, oh, this is going to happen, there's chances that it does happen, but just in a much different way than everyone thinks it's going to.
Yeah, like I already expressed. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I love AJ Green, but you know what? I'll tell you the sneaky play is John Ross.
Mm-hmm.
He's number 2. He's number 2 receiver in Cincinnati. He's a sneaky play, dude, and he's cheap as dirt. And I don't know. You said his usage is going to be like around 8%. I don't think so. I think game day.
No, I've heard quite a few people kind of talking about him. I think he started off real sneaky, even in season long this year, and his ADP throughout all the best ball drafts and stuff just kind of kept slowly climbing as the off season went on. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be surprisingly high on.
Yeah,
I still don't think he's a bad play. I agree with you. He's definitely a good play.
Yeah, I love AJ Green. I love Allen. It's not like I listen and watch and read a lot of stuff, and I had this guy on my list, but you know what? I'm telling you now, I can tell you this game script. Jacksonville's going to smoke them, and Fournette's going to have at least 2 touchdowns minimal. And I told you, Bortles is going 178 yards or 202 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns max. That's what Bortles is going to do. Fournette's the one. He's the monster there. That's the one. Nobody's going to stop him, man. There's nobody going to stop him. So I'm jumping away from that, Chris.
If you want a good Twitter follow, there is a Twitter called Blake Bortles Facts. That is one of the funniest Twitters around. You have to check it out.
That's because Blake Bortles, his stats are bipolar. They are.
@ Bortles Facts.
Look, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just saying his stats are bipolar because they are up and down. I mean, consistently. This guy throws 4 interceptions and then comes back with like a 423-yard game and 3 touchdowns. And then the next game, he'll have like 126 yards thrown. What the hell? His numbers are so erratic. You literally are rolling dice when you start him, man. You're playing craps. I'm telling you now, I will never, ever have him, period, the whole year. I'll never start him in any of my stuff the whole year because of the fact that he's too damn erratic, man. He's just too erratic. And they got that, gosh, man, Fournette is so, guy's a monster, man.
Yeah, he's a beast, huh?
Yeah. I love him, can you tell? I love him, man. I love him, and I love Hunt, and I love a lot of these guys. You ready to move on to tight end? Because guess what? In my wide receivers, besides Thomas, Green, Allen, Ross, and Diggs, Stephon Diggs, I love Diggs, man. I'm not even going outside of that box there. And I might shy away from from Michael Thomas, dude. I might shy away from that because if his ownership percentage is up there, I don't know. Almost like sitting here talking to you, I can't go away from Thomas, man. Because if Kamara if he regresses a little bit and Breeze has to chuck that ball up, Thomas is going to be the one he's chucking it to, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he probably is. So the last thing I'll say about receivers before we move on is two high-owned guys I'm looking to probably fade in the big contest. Number one is Antonio Brown. But now I'm actually wondering if everyone's going to go that route. So I'm wondering if he actually should get more play in my lineups. The other one is Keelan Cole, Jacksonville receiver. Yeah, I have a feeling because of his price is so low because of what happened to Marquise Lee and him kind of taking over for that spot, and everything that I've seen, all the people touting him this last week. I think that he might be a good fade candidate. He's not that proven. He did have a good end of the year last year, but you know what? And even to take it one step further, there's another guy who's like kind of around his range that I really feel like could be a better play, and that's Philip Dorsett for New England. He's the number 2 receiver. Gronk and Hogan are good, but Brady spreads the ball around. Brady's not focusing in on one guy, and if you look the last few seasons, their number 2 and 3 receivers these first few weeks of the game have actually gotten quite a bit of love. Brandon Coleman last year, I think it's Brandon Coleman last year got 6 catches and 100 and some yards and a touchdown week 1. It was like a guy that was sub 1% owned. And I could see something like that happening again. That game's more than likely going to shoot out. So you know what? Why not get a piece of it when everyone's going to be playing Chris Hogan and Gronk? Why not play Philip Dorsett?
That's what everybody's playing, Chris Hogan. And I know it, and that's what shies me away from Chris Hogan.
And then otherwise, why not still get a piece of that offense that is powerful, in Philip Dorsett? So he's a contrarian play, obviously, but he's one that I'm going to be on. And then one other one I'll give you that I'm going to be on is it's a New Orleans guy. Again, one of these high total games. Everyone's going to be playing Michael Thomas. I'm going to play Traquan Smith. Number 2-3 receiver.
What about Ted Ginn?
Possibly Ted Ginn too. So I
had Ginn in my early lineups.
I just struggle with Ginn because he just seems like that guy that Breeze is going to get him the ball, but he's going to have 3 catches a game for 26 yards, and does he have a chance
But
to
if
break one?
if he has that one catch if he has that 140 or plus yard touchdown, that's all he needs.
Yeah. So you're right. I might actually look at doing that too. But I really like this Traquan Smith. He's a rookie. So no one's going to be playing him. He's going to be 1% owned or less.
Who's their tight end?
Perfect. Why don't we move to tight ends?
Well, who's New Orleans' tight end?
Ben Watson. So he's another one. He's one who I actually marked that I was going to talk about it as a sneaky tight end play.
And he was on the Ravens last year too.
Pivot off the chalk.
I see him every week. He's not bad. He's old. I think he's an old cat.
He is a little older, but again, so is Drew Brees. Drew Brees is old too.
Well, wait till Antonio Gates comes in next week.
Yeah, Gates and Rivers. The old man connection is there. That's
you're getting a touchdown probably every week that Gates plays. Honestly, without Hunter Henry, you're getting touchdown every week that Gates plays. He might have one touchdown and one catch, but he'll get that touchdown.
So slow. He's gonna he walks into the end zone and falls down. The ball just lands in his hands.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
It's so funny.
Them 6 points, Chris, are better than probably 70% of the tight ends.
It really is, and he just kills it. It's so I always laugh because listening to them announce the game when he's in there, it's like Gates gets the ball at the 5, at the 4, at the 3, at the 2. Touchdown, and it's most guys guy gets the ball at the 5, touchdown.
Hey, what's going on? It's 4:30 already, and that was the first play of the game. This 4 o'clock game, it's 4:30. Gates just ran a 20-yard touchdown. Yeah, but Ben Watson's alright. I got Jimmy Graham, but obviously here we go again. I got Njoku, and I might be wrong about something.
You're going really contrarian on the tight ends this week. I expect you to go more chalky. So the top 3 plays at tight end this week, the two ultra chalks, what I think tight end this week are
Gronkowski
and funny enough, Jack Doyle.
Yeah,
and this is another one of my things. Jack Doyle's going to be the chalky tight end of the week. Yeah. What could go wrong? He's just not. I don't know. He's that good, man. He's Jack Doyle. Come on.
Now, what do you think Kelsey's ownership percentage is going to be?
I think it's going to be pretty low, to be honest. Actually, I hadn't even thought about him. You just brought him up. So I tend to pay down at tight end when I'm making, especially in these tournament lineups that I'm making them. Because tight end is such high variance, but
and their ceiling stops.
It's capped. Except if it's Gronk, Kelsey, or Ertz. And even Ertz, look at Ertz on Thursday night. What did he have, 3 targets?
Dude, nobody's even mentioned Greg Olsen.
Olsen was hurt, but he actually is going to play. I heard that today he's having issues with his back.
Nobody's even said his name, man.
No, you're right.
And I'm not using him because I guess everybody feels the same way I do. I'm scared of him. I don't know. I had him on my season long last year, and he drove me bananas. I don't even when he came back. So I don't know. I don't know if he's lost a step or if I just don't know. I know that earlier in the week I had Devin Funches as one of my favorite receivers, and I jumped off of Devin Funches because he's going to be on a lockdown corner. I'm jumping right off him for that reason because they don't have nobody else but Devin Funches. McCaffrey's going to be the one to benefit, and everybody and their brother's going to be starting him. He's the one that's I don't know where he fits. Whether it's running back or wide receiver, but if he slides into running back, that's where everybody's going to put him at. And that's where I've seen him slide in at. I haven't seen a site there he slides in both. But,
and I'm here's me thinking all right, if you're going to play Jack Doyle, why not just play Eric Ebron? He's proven that he's
Bro, why not
a
play?
receiving type of tight end, even though he's got cement blocks for hands.
Why not play Njoku?
Or Njoku, or Delaney Walker, or one of the guys who I think I'm going to actually have a lot of this week. Some of you already mentioned, Jordan Reed.
Yeah.
He can make it through 5 snaps.
Yep. Tyler Eifert, another one.
Tyler Eifert's another one I will be targeting. The last time that Andy Dalton had a healthy Tyler Eifert, they played really well together.
Yes, they did.
So, and it's been a few years now since they've had that, or what, he was out, almost all of last season?
Yeah, almost all last season. I think he had 3 or 4 touchdowns the first, 3 games.
Yeah, you're right. He played 2 games. Yeah, he played 1 game, then he got hurt, and looks like early on in the second game. Then he was out the third, then he played in the fourth, and then he was out the rest of the season.
Yep.
If he can stay upright, you're right. He's another one. He's gonna have very little ownership this week.
Yeah,
I haven't
talk
heard many
about zero
people
ownership. Nick Lissette. I'll be the only idiot that owns this guy.
That's right. I'm right there with you. I'm going to be playing Austin Safarian Jenkins and Ricky Seals-Jones. So,
yes, but what about Seals-Jones? Is he hurt? What is going on with him?
Seals-Jones?
Yeah, I keep reading he's injured, then he's not injured. What is going on with this guy?
I haven't seen much. I'll have to look that info up.
Yeah, they keep saying
I know he's going to play. I know he's play. Oh no, he's not anymore. I'm pretty sure he's going to play. I haven't seen any new news come out on him. So I know he didn't play in the preseason, I think, at all, barely.
Well, we were just on San Diego talking about Gates. Dude, I like Virgil Greens. You talk about another sneaky play.
Yeah, with no Hunter Henry there and Gates not playing. Philip Rivers likes to target the tight end.
Oh yeah.
So that's a good call. That's Gates actually is playing, isn't he?
No, he's not.
Is he not playing?
No,
Okay.
he has a practice. He has
expected to play limited snaps on Sunday. So I mean.
Yeah, but there's not. They're saying he's not. Dude, I'm telling you. He's not. It's not going to be like. I mean, yeah, you could make a case for him stealing Virgil Green's touchdowns because when it's 3rd down and whatever, they're going to put Gates in the damn game.
Mm-hmm.
But at Virgil Green's price, what's he need? 4 catches and 40 yards. That's about all he needs, man.
Yeah. He paid off. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one from here, without Graham in it, I think I have to pick Eifert, man. I
really like Eifert too. I do.
Yeah, I think that's the one I would have to.
And I don't think he's going to have much ownership, to be honest. I'm kind of surprised by it, but I feel like he should probably carry 10% owners. I don't think he's even going to get.
Yeah. Well, let's settle a debate right now. What's Gronk's price on DK?
6,900. 69, huh?
Who's the best receiver on DK right now besides who's under Brown? Michael Thomas?
Let's see. Brown's 86, DeAndre Hopkins is 83, and then Michael Thomas is 78.
All right, 80. Let's go with the
Keenan Allen, AJ Green, and Odell are all.
Let's go with the 78 and 83.
Okay, so that's
60 and 69. Gronk could outscore Hopkins or the other guy.
Yeah, because he could have 3 touchdowns. It's totally within the realm of possible outcomes there.
Yeah, I think I might. I'm putting Gronk in every lineup I have.
I could see that doing that. I hate that paying up for tight end. But I mean, if you're going to pay up for a tight end, he's the one to do it for. He really.
Yeah,
is.
if you're going to pay up for a tight end and shaft somebody like Michael Thomas, that's the only way That's the only way I can do it. Because I'm gonna have to. I'm pulling Michael Thomas from all my lineups. So, I mean, that's what I'm doing. My now that we're done, I mean, you got any other?
You want to talk about defenses real quick and kickers?
Well, kickers, sure, we can. Defenses, I only like 3 defenses. I like Baltimore, Arizona, and Minnesota. That's it. It's only 3. I'm starting one of the 3, and I can tell you, I'm fine with starting Arizona against Washington because they're the cheapest.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I'm not sure what I'm doing yet. I tend to like the pay down on defense because there's so much variance. If Baltimore's going to come out and be like 30% owned, which I totally think is a possibility, I might not play.
yeah, that's why I like Arizona. Nobody's going to want Arizona.
No one's going to play, and that's kind of
I'm
a
the only idiot that's going to want
strategy.
that.
You can play a couple of good defenses and a couple of bad defenses if you're going to play like you're going to do your 20 lineup in one of the 20 max tournaments or something like that. You can kind of play a couple chalky ones, play a couple of a little bit more unique ones because defense is just so high variance. It's so dependent on touchdowns. A lot of times it's the winners in the big Millie Maker tournament on DraftKings is it's a guy who got lucky because Denver's defense scored 3 touchdowns that game, and it was that they were 2% owned. So I like New Orleans a lot. Defense, I think Fitzpatrick is terrible. I think New Orleans defense is underrated. I just think that game could just end up being a total blowout. And I'm interested in this. I'm interested in the Cleveland defense against Pittsburgh this week. I don't think anyone's going to own them. I think they're really priced down. Some of my statistic models have been like putting them at the top. And I think that, a lot of times they say that snow helps offenses, wind and rain helps defenses. Because in snow, when the offense has the ball, they know which direction they're going, where the defense doesn't, and they can't get footing. But in the wind and rain, the offense doesn't know where the ball's going when it goes in the air. So it actually benefits the defenses some. So we'll see. I might get off of that, but that's it. That's all I want to just touch on defenses real quick. And then kickers, I know very little about kickers. I'll be honest with you. I kind of just guess every week. Usually my rule of thumb for kickers is play guys in good weather, play guys in domes. That's it. That's kind of how I pick my kickers every week. Where are they playing? How's the weather going to be there? And then obviously you tend to want kickers on a little bit better offenses. You don't want, kickers on teams that's going to score 10 points every week.
Well, I mean, let's see. I mean, we're talking about kickers, and that's also, dude, look, New Orleans has a kicker that can blast it from 50-some yards.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, we all know Justin Tucker can kick it from 65. I think he could literally make a 75-yarder in Denver. I mean,
Denver in the thin air up there.
Yeah, there's the top 4 or 5 kickers, and then the rest of them. I like having the kicker in DraftDaily.com. I love it, but do I start Justin Tucker over any other kicker? Only limited basis. If it's the top 2 defenses going against each other, then I will pay up for a kicker like Justin Tucker. There's no doubt in my mind. If I know the Ravens are playing one of the top defenses, or New Orleans, if New Orleans is not at home and they're playing one of the top defenses, bro, I'm starting their kicker, and I'll pay up for him because I know I'm going to get 3-4 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only way I pay up for kickers. Otherwise, I think I got Kai Farbane or somebody like that who's my kicker or something.
Caleb, like on Draft Daily, Caleb Sturgis is at 35. He's perfect. Yeah,
he
plays for the Chargers. They're gonna Vegas thinks they're gonna score a lot, so why not? Or
I don't think a kicker has won anybody $1 million. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
No, you are not.
None that I'm aware of. So let me tell you my my final lineup here.
Okay.
My final lineup is. Hold on, I gotta finish it up here. My wide receiver is 6,300. Okay, so my lineup is Tom Brady, Kareem Hunt, Alex Collins, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, John Ross, Rob Gronkowski, Carlos Hyde, and the Browns defense.
Nice.
That's one. That's
I like that. I like that. I do. I like that. I like that. How much salary did you use?
Almost all of it.
Okay.
And I might change this. I might stick Hogan in there and just make it a New England stack.
That might work. It depends on what you're going for, because if you're playing in if this is like a Millie Maker type of lineup where you're playing against 200,000 entries, then definitely stacking two, a wide receiver and a tight end with a quarterback is a contrarian move. Just stacking a quarterback with a tight end or just a quarterback with a receiver, there's a lot of people that'll do that, but you'd be surprised that when you do two, how far it goes down. And that's a really good game to target for something like that because it's Brady.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. And it's this John Ross that's allowing me to do that. And I chose Hunt because I told you how much I love him, but I don't just love him because I love him. I love him at the price he's at. I have him obviously above Bell now. I have him above Ezekiel Elliott. And I have him, I love Melvin Gordon also, but I feel like I'm getting made to choose here. So, I'm just going to stick with Kareem Hunt. I can't do Dalvin Cook. So that's one of my lineups. And that's the lineup that I'll use in GPPs. And I'd use it in cash games too. I think my ownership percentages are going to be right on snuff, and I could sneak out Alex Collins and make my ownership a little better because there's like 27 other running backs here there's not 27, but there's running backs here that you could throw in there instead of Alex Collins. Royce Freeman is cheaper than Alex Collins. So
Hyde's down there, I think, too.
What's up?
And Carlos Hyde's down there.
I got him in my flex.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, so I could even I could even make room on this team if I decide to whack Collins out. Because I can put Royce Freeman in for, I think, oh my God, dude, it's retarded. It's, you know what? I'm going to switch all my lineups. I'm pulling Alex Collins. I'm starting Freeman in every lineup I have. He's $4,500, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple other guys down in his range that I like too. The running back I think running back is what you're going to have to get right. Running
Rex
back
Burkhead. Everybody's on Rex Burkhead now.
So you wanted to end this with sleeper plays, and that actually brings you to mine. And I'm going to be playing a lot of him this weekend.
Burkhead?
Nope, James White. I think that Burkhead's been hurt most of the beginning of this year. I think that sometimes they'll line Burkhead up like opposite. They put him in some weird spots. I just feel like everything I've been seeing and reading, it just leads up to James White catching a whole bunch of passes behind this Patriots offense this week. And Burkhead's not going to get as much play as everybody thinks. And the fact that he's going to be fairly chalky in this tournament, pivoting off him to the other New England running back just seems like the right move to me. So I'm going to be all over James White this week. He's going to be kind of my contrarian play that if it hits, it's going to be really good for me because I've convinced myself I'm going to probably be playing a considerable amount in a considerable amount of my lineups at 4,000 on DraftKings. And what is he on DraftDaily?
No, you know what? You're right. Because I can't sit here. Look, I can tell you, Kareem Hunt's going to outscore freaking White. Okay, I don't care. There's them top four that I told you I had problems with. Fournette, Hunt, Gordon, and Johnson. Them guys are scoring some points, dude. Period. So, but for me to jump off of Carlos Hyde, and to put a James White in there, and then have, I don't know, over 1,000 more.
You free up a bunch of salary there.
Yeah, freed up a bunch of salary where I don't even have to have an Alex Collins no more. I can uptick that to. So I think White's a fantastic play. I agree with you. I think White's a fantastic play, man.
I'm putting him actually in my DraftDaily lineup right now.
Oh yeah, I think it's a fantastic play. And I got to change all my lineups. because I got Juju Schuster and Jarvis Landry and a bunch of them.
Yeah. I don't know. Things could change in an instant. It's Cleveland, the rain, and we never know what's gonna happen weather-wise here. So tomorrow morning, wake up and they could say it's gonna be sunny and 80 because literally it was so cold today. We had to shut all the windows in our house. When Tuesday and Wednesday this week, all the local schools got called off around here because it was too hot to go to school. And then today we're closing our windows because it's too old. I had to wear a hoodie today out.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's Cleveland for you right there. It goes from 95 to 60 in 3 days.
That's great. So it's like that here, but I think you guys have even worse than we do.
Yeah, we get the weird lake effect stuff, especially right up on the Great Lakes. They call Chicago the windy city, but it's just as windy in Cleveland. It really is.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to touch on, let's do real quick. We talked about weather in the beginning of the show. So what do you – hold on. I was just looking at weather reports, and I just lost them. Great. There's some bad weather that's supposed – let's check this rain. I saw rain in weather conditions in Cleveland and Pittsburgh, but I also saw them somewhere else, which now I can't find.
I will tell you right now. Buffalo and Baltimore.
Well, hold on. Yes. Buffalo and Baltimore. Well, I'm in Baltimore, so.
Okay, so you'll know. Those are the two big ones.
Yeah, but there's no wide receivers in that game that I will touch. There's one person literally two people in that game. Hold on. Yeah, two people. I'm not touching Justin Tucker. There's two people in that game I'll touch. Collins, right?
Yeah.
And it might not even be two. Who would the other one be? That's it. The defense. Baltimore's defense. That's the only two things I'd touch in that game. So, now how about Jacksonville and the Giants? And you know what? Baltimore, I read something. They're talking about these other two idiots they got at running back. And look, I love the Ravens. Everybody sees my hat. I love the Ravens and the Patriots. And that's what Baltimore will do. Baltimore will be using 3 running backs instead of using 1. So now you got Alex Collins. I'll be throwing stuff to the TV because he'll get like 13 carries. He'll average 4.6 yards a carry. But these other two idiots will get all the other will eat the carries from them. Jacksonville, New York. I got rain there too, which puts a big damper.
Oh, yeah, that says I have your low end chance of some rain later in the day, so maybe later in the game, but not much. Nothing like Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Buffalo and Baltimore. Those are going to be the two big ones.
Okay.
Those are the two I would worry about the most. The rest of these.
What about Tennessee, Miami?
Maybe pop up thunderstorms because it's been hot, humid Miami, but that would be about it. Dallas, Carolina has a chance for rain. They don't cancel the game because of thunder. It's only lightning. Correct? Lightning, and usually they'll just delay it. They won't cancel it. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, then that takes care of the weather. I wanted to get that out of the way for people that are watching or people that will watch this.
Yeah, and always check on the weather before the game starts. Sunday mornings, just to make sure because things can change overnight. So.
Yeah, weather, and look, you got to be on this thing at 11:30, 11 a.m. Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not, you're at risk because I'm going to tell you something. It happens all the time. These guys get there. I'm telling you now, these guys get to the stadium 4 hours before game time. All right, and they're working out and they're goofing off. They're listening. They got their headphones on. They're listening to their beats. They're listening to Drake or whoever they're listening to, and they step the wrong way or they move the wrong way, and then you got I got to use somebody I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You got I don't know, Alvin Kamara pulling a hamstring doing warm-ups or something. I like Alvin Kamara. Just I know everybody's gonna have him, and I know he could burn me bad this week. But look, you gotta watch. Don't just think you can set this thing and walk away. You cannot do that. Not if you want to win and be serious about this. And Chris, I think you hit on this the last show. When you play daily fantasy sports, you gotta understand something, man. You're going against guys that are entering 300 lineups, and they're using optimizers. So don't think it's not throwing, the guys that you think some sneaky play. Oh my God, this guy's some sneaky play, Virgil Green. I guarantee he'll be in somebody's lineup. One of them guys that enters 300 times is going to have a Virgil Green in their lineup.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to happen. So, you got to be on top of this if you want to be serious about it, and not whine. At whatever 7 o'clock, 7:01, probably the last game will end, something like that. By 7 at least, I'm assuming by 7 it will be over with. Till then the 8:20 game comes on.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be crying at 7 o'clock, you gotta get on here real fast. If I was you, I'd build your lineups, and all you gotta do is check them. Make sure these guys
have them ready. Yep. And then if you got it, you can swap out guys if you need to at the last minute.
Yeah, make sure they don't have a red mark.
A few hours.
No, because I'm telling you now, you will not win if something happens to somebody during pregame and you do not change it. You're not winning fantasy football with zeros. This isn't fantasy baseball. You're not winning fantasy football with zeros when you're, zeros in your lineup. It's not happening. Not with the competition you're going against, unless you're in a head-to-head or something like that. You could, because both, that guy could stack. I don't know, a lot of stuff kind of head-to-head, but yeah, we just want people to be aware that, and know that, when you do this, take it seriously. It only takes 15 minutes to, even if you do it at 12:30, okay, do it at 12:30. You'll be done by 12:40. Then go get everything ready, whatever. And then make sure you take care of this stuff. Now, as far as a lot of it, you don't have to do anything. All you do is watch our show. We give you, we just went over weather with you. We give you our sneaky plays. If you want to know my lineup, I just told you my lineup. It's Tom Brady, Kareem Hunt, Alex Collins, Tyreek Hill, Jarvis Landry, John Ross, Robin Gronkowski, Carlos Hyde, and the Cardinals defense. Not Cardinals, Browns defense. I might switch 3 of these things. I might switch Collins, Landry, and Hyde. That's what I might switch. I might switch them 3. Because if I think that if I put a player like White in there in my flex or in my running back position, I can uptick there, and I don't have to have Alex Collins. I might be able to have an even better running back than Carlos Hyde and Alex Collins. I love David Johnson. I'm telling you now, I love him. I wish I could get him in everything. Yeah, that's my lineup, and Cincinnati. Everything's built on Cincinnati. But now hearing that, I'm assuming that Andy Dalton's usage just went up. AJ Green's usage is going to go up. What do you think, Joe Mixon? What do you think's going to happen with him?
I don't know.
You think he'll stay under the radar, or you think they'll swing to him too?
I think he's going to kind of stay under the radar. So I'm not going to play him much this week. He's one of those guys I'm going to kind of wait and see on.
They're playing the Colts.
I know, but still, I think the passing offense, if anything's going to win in that game, it's going to be the passing offense. So, yeah, I'm going to probably stay away. So.
Well, I don't know. I know that Mixon's gotten better in time, and that's one thing I look at. I don't know. I don't know what to think of Mixon. He doesn't receive too much out of the backfield. I don't know. But that's about where I'm at. My favorite play this week is Fournette. Fournette's the best thing in the world. Him and Kareem Hunt are the best thing in the world to me. Wide receiver wise, my best plays are, and this is only because I can't use Green Bay, folks. My best plays at wide receiver are Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen. And quarterback, I will only use Brady, Mahomes, Dalton, Rivers, or Cousins. I don't know. I'll use 2 or 3 of them. And Dalton now, I might not use him. So it might just be Mahomes, Rivers, and Cousins. That's the way my lineups are shaping up. and one with Brady.
Yeah.
You gotta have one. You gotta have New England, dude.
Yeah,
That
I'm
guy-
doing the Draft Daily New England lineup right now.
Yeah, because he has 5 touchdowns. That's probably 2 more than 90% of the other quarterbacks. And he doesn't throw picks often. So it's not like you're going to get 4 touchdowns and 4 picks and, 212 yards, Blake Bortles. So, all right. Well, we got anything else? Or was that about it?
I think that's about it. I think we almost went 2 hours. So, yeah, we probably talked about enough for the night. Got to be close.
We started at what time?
Started at 7:15.
God. Oh well, who cares? We'll get it. We'll get it faster.
We'll get it condensed down a little more next week. Yeah,
an hour and 3 minutes is pretty good for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, don't forget to check out DraftDaily.com, powered by Fantasy Gold Coin. Thanks everybody for watching live, and we will I'll rebroadcast this soon. I will upload it and do my intro and outro and everything. And you can watch it again, watch it in pieces. You can do whatever you want with it. I'll also put it in the playlist. We are not going over wide receivers, tight ends, and defenses and kickers for your DFS plays. We just did pretty much what you need to know. So this is probably it till next week. But we will not be doing it. We cannot do it on Saturday. We have to do it before Saturday, man.
Okay, we can figure it out.
Yeah, we need to figure it out.
No problem.
So next week we'll be back before Saturday. We might do a show earlier in the week and then just do a fast show Sunday morning or Saturday night. So all right, man. Well, that's it, Chris. Thanks for thanks for hanging out with me once again. And
absolutely.
I love it, man. Good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, you too, for sure.
Yeah, I'll be in the Discord chat live, so I'll if you're in there, I'll see you there. All right, man. Well,
all right.
Take it easy.
Dude.